Pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome to films I should have talked about years ago. Yet again. And you know what? I'm going to do something a little different for today. Because I already got a main review, and it talks quite a little bit about The Incredibles 2. But for right now, I'm going to start off right here by saying that I've come back again with something different for the series. This is going to be a little bonus that I'm going to be integrating. Episode 14.5, if you will. And you're probably going to be wondering, what film am I going to be talking about in this particular instance? Then, well, the title says it all. A brand new Netflix original called The Ice Road. After all, I did kind of give my first impressions on Godzilla vs. Kong when it first came out. Right there, in the break of dawn, I went ahead and kind of fast scrolled through the entire film when it was out on HBO Max for the first time. And, wow, I went ahead and made as quick of a video as I possibly could and got it uploaded to the channel pretty much right away. So right now, I'm going to do something similar to that, as it did, in fact, allow me to, well, have this series to begin with. If it weren't for that, then I probably wouldn't have gotten the idea to make a series that's bent about videos and films and shows and the like that I should have talked about a long time ago. But not to get sidetracked, let's get going with The Ice Road. Another 2021 release, but can all 2020 releases be at least a little bit decent? After all, I've talked about the fact that Godzilla vs. Kong, the main fatal flaw that I happen to present to it was the fact that it was released in 2021, a time where we're suffering through some of the worst possible things to ever happen in American and even worldwide history. From a pandemic to an ongoing feud between the North and the South, history apparently repeats itself yet again. Well, anyways, The Ice Road is as simple as that. It's a PG-13 satire that came out last month in June 2021. I basically got around to watching it not long ago, so most of the stuff's at least still fresh in my memory. So at this point, let's just get on to this. It stars Liam Neeson, Lawrence Fishburne, and a variety of other actors that happen to present themselves as a team that is destined to bring along 3 semi-trucks full of tools to rescue a bunch of cave miners who are apparently trapped after some methane pockets have exploded, rendering them trapped and unable to get out by themselves. It's pretty much a race against time to see if 3 Kenworth semi-big rig trucks are able to get through Canadians' most treacherous roads out there, which are usually referred to as the ice roads. And ice roads are, in fact, a real-life disaster that just so happen to be used a lot now. And it's mostly for the fact that a lot of drivers are hoping to get things done as quickly as possible, and most of the real roads, the main ones that are actually on dry land, are not necessarily as efficient nor as capable of getting certain loads there on time. But the thing is, in this case, this film basically gives us not only the sort of gritty, terrifying feel of how an ice road driver is usually able to overcome these obstacles, but also a whole line of conspiracies that are dealt with the fact that one of the members of the team is secretly working with the so-called opposition that just so happens to be working in the same mining company. So, secretly, there is in fact a dark side to all of this that does not care about any of the lives that are trapped within that mine, or anything about the methane pockets that just so happen to be spawning around. But either way, it seems to be quite an epic battle that happens between all the drivers on good, and then of course all the people who are on the opposition. You got all sorts of things taking place, from unique truck-style chase scenes, all the way out to certain fight sequences that are pretty reminiscent to that of some films that we've gotten in the past. We've seen a lot of this sort of fighting sequences take place in films including Triple Frontier, the Transformers Bayverse films. Hand-to-hand combat of that sort is common in a lot of different films that are usually centered on things like warfare and the apocalypse. In this case, though, we happen to have ourselves something as basic as, well, a trip from point A to point B, with a lot of obstacles to overcome and a ton of barriers to cross. And also lots of ingenuity is put together. You got all sorts of gadgets that are in use, like the winch, as well as a pole that is used to drive directly into the ice itself to prevent any of the trucks from possibly falling in the caved areas of where ice is broken through and the water is now down below. Either way, though, it's unbelievable what had been accomplished here. Of course, you got yourself a familiar cast with some newer additions that have not necessarily been seen elsewhere. And if so, then it's probably for a bunch of minor roles, but still, the higher prominence in these roles are certainly one of a kind. And overall, when it comes to giving this film a score entirely, I cannot necessarily be sure what else to say about it. The Ice Road, being a release in summer 2021, again, the whole year 2021 is just, it's beyond everything that we've ever had in our whole lives. I couldn't even make this stuff up if I could, if I even tried of any sorts. So that's pretty much the biggest fatal flaw that happens to go around. And with all 2021 releases that I might be talking about at some point in time, that's the main reason for it. I'll certainly be removing a huge chunk of the overall score that I'll be given to most films here and there because of that exact reason. If it's something from 2020, 2019, 2018, not as recently, like those, then well, of course the scores might as well just be what I would originally intend to give them, because at least those years actually were good in any possible way. They gave me at least some sort of good reason to, well, stick around by any means. Well, anyways, I might as well go ahead and give this one a score right away, because looking at all the things that I've basically been able to find within this film, a decent cast, some impressive action, some special effects that probably are not necessarily the best that could have been done, but this was in fact a low-budget film by any means. That was also a Netflix original, so Netflix doesn't really have the multi-billion-dollar sort of, well, money that a lot of companies out there have, like Paramount or Columbia or even Disney of any sort. So Netflix themselves, they try to do whatever they can by, well, not spending too much money. Otherwise, they could potentially go bankrupt. So anyways, looking at everything that's happened there, a nice healthy duration, some exciting action that takes place between trucks, between environments, between the different characters that happen, and then of course you have, well, a lot of things to remember from something like this. I'd say the score on this one is going to pretty much be a 7.4 out of 10. Yeah, 7.4 out of 10 on my end in terms of scoring this thing overall. So the Ice Road is still something that I would certainly watch again, but I would not ever want to look back on 2021 in any possible way. But I could just leave a few exceptions just to at least remind myself that I've gotten through this entire year. As, well, tragic as it can possibly be by any means. So, you know what? That's just what that's all about. Well, anyways, tune in for tomorrow, and I'm going to be having myself something different, and I will be going back to just one episode a day for this exact thing that takes place. So, if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.